phone. That's why now is the time to take action. Go to ready.gov/communicate and make your emergency plan today. Don't wait. Communicate. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
It's pretty amazing when you consider that 7 years ago, we didn't have the treatments we have now. We cure 80% of children with cancer. Go back 50 years, we were curing 20 to 30%. This is the miracle story of modern medicine. We understand what makes this cancer tick. And of course, without donors from around the world, this just couldn't happen. And there's one thing we're focused on, and that's beating this thing.
St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. Finding cures, saving children. Learn more at stjude.org.
The SEC lives here. Powered by Pepsi. WGS Excellent Haven, Panama City. 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Mahomes, a deep drop, has time, looks for the home run ball downfield, knocked away, and intercepted.
Broadcasting from the Rib Crib Radio Room.
McPherson knocks it through, and the fairy tale continues.
The Afternoon Underdogs are on the air. 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
And we are live, man. We are back today, and so is baseball. But we'll get to that in just a second. Welcome into the Rip Crib Radio Room. You're listening to the Afternoon Underdogs. I'm David Hayes, along with AG Adam Golf. What's this, 3 days in a row? And I'm guaranteed to have you tomorrow. That's 4 days in a row.
I'm down, buddy.
That's like a full week, my man.
Living life.
You don't even know how clutch you've came in. Yeah,
Hey.
like right, old school though. It has definitely been a help having that third voice, and then also you're running the board for me, man. There's not too many people that I put the trust in like I do for AG Adam Golf. I appreciate you a lot, man.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys putting up with me this whole time. So it's awesome.
We're blessed to have you, man. You got great takes, and we love it. Give us a call or text today, 850-215-6290. And everybody that's a baseball fan right now can rejoice.
Well, it ain't done yet.
The boys are back.
But I think the boys are back.
The boys are back, man. We're going to be playing some baseball. Opening day set to start April 7th. So this is exciting. This is a good time to be alive, or you cannot be a baseball fan. Either way that you want to go. But I'm excited about this. We've got Stephen Nesbitt, who's a writer with The Athletic, and actually once the news broke, he got into The Athletic and opened up a question-answer thing. So we're blessed to be having him on the show. Like, perfect timing. I was going to be asking him questions about the lockout, and I wanted to, get him to explain it to us as simply as possible. We don't got to worry about that now, though.
Well, it still would be interesting to
find out the differences, where they were.
Yeah, and how they, what the process was that they maneuvered to. I mean, I think that would be cool because all we heard was they're so far apart. They're so far apart. And then all of a sudden, yesterday we talked about they had met for like 13 hours. And I thought to myself, well, if you're that far apart, why are you meeting for 13 hours?
Yeah.
But I didn't say anything. But, I mean, I'm just excited. Now my anxiety level has gone up.
Because now it's truth time.
It's signing day. Starts tonight. As soon as that pen hits the paper, it's on like Donkey Kong. And
How long do y'all think it's going to be till they ratify this thing? And we'll get a better answer here at 4:15.
I don't know.
I'm hoping a few hours.
I don't even know what the process is. I know the players. I guess all the players have to. Maybe they do it through a website, or I don't know how they do it.
Adam, look up how long it took for them to. I'm just kidding, but look up. I was about to say how long it took our founding fathers to ratify the Constitution.
Well, I thought you were going to go back to like maybe the last time there was like a lockout or strike or something.
No. We got to stick. We got to stick in the era.
We got Google.
We got to stick in the era of old school. So it would only be right to go back to about 1774. So
there's somebody right now riding a horse really hard.
Well, it's because gas is at like over $4 a gallon.
That's what it is.
I seen a video of some kid.
It's more expensive than.
He was riding a thoroughbred through the streets, and he was like holding on for dear life, man. But I tell you what, he's saving some money right now.
He's like, how much horsepower is that thing got?
One. That is some good stuff. Can't wait to be talking to Stephen Nesbitt here at 4:15. He's a writer for The Athletic. We'll have him on the air with us.
I think everybody in America right now is pretty much excited, except for one guy. Jerry Jones.
Oh, man.
I think he was excited at some point in this process, but not now.
But not now.
So what Old School was alluding to is a woman is suing Jerry Jones. She alleges that the Dallas Cowboys owner paid her mother to conceal that he was her biological father. Alexandra Davis is her name. She lives in Washington, D.C. She filed her lawsuit against Jerry Jones, who's 79 years old now. That's kind of a newer age to be able to find to finding out you're a parent, huh? Got you a brand new one, and those are the best kind, though, right? Might be a little bit more expensive, but you don't got to change the diapers, none of that stuff.
Well, she's what, 35 years old now?
Miles, do you remember how old she was? 25.
25, but
Big shout out to Miles, y'all.
Yeah, but she's got a really good job, so it's not like she's looking to go on the payroll immediately. I think
but there's that will and testament coming up quickly.
That's what I mean. By
hopefully not. I'm not trying to wish that on anybody, including Jerry Jones. But
yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I don't think she's like wanting to go on the payroll immediately, but I think in the short term, if with Jerry being with the age that he is, that there could be a sizable inheritance at some
What's
point.
that franchise worth?
About $4 billion.
Yeah, is that it?
$4 billion. Is that it? This is a small B,
right?
Yeah. With a B.
What do you think's going to happen, Old School? You've seen more of these kind of situations than what I have.
There's going to be
anything happen with first, second, third, or fourth wife like this?
No.
Okay.
Well, I mean, I think
he's still on. You're on 3, right?
Yeah, I'm on 3.
Okay, I wasn't sure of the number. My apologies.
3.
No.
This is it.
Okay, I got you.
This one is sticking. I think that there will be some form of agreement reached, so that all the details will not come out, but there will be some form of agreement.
There's a lot of details out already, though.
But I mean, as Miles said earlier, the Cowboys are good at reaching settlements with people.
I mean, they are. Look, they just got done with a $2.4 million confidential
cheerleaders.
Yeah. 4 members of the cheerleading squad who accused one of their team executives of voyeurism in the locker room came in through a back door and was snapping pictures of them.
But maybe if they paid them more than $50 per game, those ladies wouldn't be so motivated to.
I mean, that's still wrong, though. it's still wrong regardless.
I mean,
Old School.
This isn't
You're showing your age here.
This isn't a fraternity prank on a sorority here. This is a creepy old guy walking into a girl's locker room.
Yeah, I mean, this is a really creepy guy. I mean, it's just messed up. It's just wrong. It's unfortunate for an organization like the Cowboys to have an employee there allegedly
snapping
photographs. That's just
at weird angles.
I mean, I had a daughter. I mean, that's weird. That's just wrong.
Yeah, no doubt. So does this really leave a black eye on the Cowboys at all?
No,
no. I'm talking about the daughter situation here, not the $2.4 million. Of course, that leaves a black eye of some sort, no doubt.
I mean, there's all along, ever since Jerry bought the team, there's been one thing after another one after another one. There was a few years ago, there was a story that came out, a picture when Jerry used to have a bus at training camp, and he would invite people on the bus, and they would go off on tours through L.A. and different parts.
I thought you were about to say Vegas. Arkansas. Like, what kind of a tour was that?
Right.
Here's
the hot
rock,
springs,
and then here's a little rock.
Here's the hot springs.
Yeah,
but it was. Unfortunately, somebody released a photograph from that bus, and Jerry was there with. He was kind of getting the same treatment that Urban Meyer was getting. This is not the first time that this has happened to Jerry Jones. Wait.
What do we mean by that?
I mean, she was.
You've had different. He's had different things.
She was dancing on his lap at a bar.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
But they were inside the bus.
I thought you were saying this isn't the first time that he's had that he's paid hush money for a kid, because I know he has 3 kids already. This will be number 4.
This is the same guy that almost got arrested for not stopping on his way to church on Easter morning. This guy who has believed his whole life that ever since he became wealthy that he's above the law.
Wait, what do you mean he got pulled over for?
I think they tried to pull him over, but he didn't stop.
Oh, okay. Yeah. He didn't stop for that. I thought you were saying like it's customary in Texas, if it's Easter Sunday, you got to pull over on the side of the road and get a snack.
He's in Highland Park. I mean, he lives in Highland Park. He was
nice, right over there by us.
Right there where Matt Stafford grew up. And he was taking his family to church on Easter morning, and he's apparently speeding because he was late, and a Highland Park police officer pulled him behind him, turned his lights on, and Jerry just kept going.
So he ain't no backseat Baptist then?
No,
because it's okay to be late if you're a backseat Baptist. No one notices.
Right.
Yeah, they followed him all the way into the church parking lot, and then he got out and told the officer he didn't want his family to be late. But and I'm thinking of anybody else.
Can't make
guys over there throwing crowns at him. Way to go, boy!
I'm just saying he's always, it's kind of the attitude is I'm Jerry Jones. I get what I want.
If you had a B where other people had M's and we're happy about that, and I mean by that is billions, like, don't you think you would be the same way sometimes?
You got to remember that when he bought the team for less than $80 million.
Yeah.
And they didn't have a stadium. They rented the stadium. They rented Texas Stadium. And now look at where they're at. So it's worth $4 billion. They own the AT&T Stadium. They own the other facilities around town. I mean, the guy's made a very successful business.
He absolutely has. And speaking of the state of Texas, universities in Texas, baseball being back, how about the Longhorns last night?
You're going to talk about the horns down thing? God almighty.
Texas State, what was the final score in that one? Was it 3-1?
I didn't see the final score, but I know it was a huge upset.
It was only their third time. Yeah, Texas State beating Texas for only the third time in their history. That's pretty cool. I mean, obviously those losses don't affect you as much as what it does in even college basketball, but definitely not the same way that it affects you in college football. But that's a good win for Texas State. I know that you don't like it as much, but would you rather lose to a small college in Oklahoma or a small college in Texas, old school?
I would rather lose to Southwest Texas State, which is what that school used to be called.
Oh, really?
And yeah, but now it's called Texas State. And if you remember a movie back a few years ago with
Scott Bakula, Unnecessary Roughness. So that was Fighting Armadillos.
See, this is another great.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming. Well, Boston Tim was great at movies as well, but that's not my lane.
Yeah.
The movie stuff.
Yeah, but that was the school that they supposedly were at was Texas State.
Southwest Texas.
When I was in school, I had friends that I played football with that went to Southwest Texas.
And where did you go to school again one more time?
Galveston Ball High School.
College.
I went to Oklahoma Christian University.
I just like hearing you say Oklahoma.
You are not nice.
What else we got here? The Suns become the first team to clinch a playoff spot. They improved the NBA's best record to 53-13. They're the reigning Western Conference champions, and now they've beaten all other 29 teams in the NBA this year. And that's the first time that the Suns have done that since 2006 and 2007. Adam, is this the year for the Suns to get it done? They were so close last year, but they're doing this without CP3 right now.
And that's where I was going to go, is if they can get CP3 back and get him healthy. I mean, we've seen it time and time again. He just makes everybody else better. And, I kind of was poking a little fun at Kyle Wright yesterday, and he kept bringing up the Miami Heat, and I kept going, Suns. On all his different, on the Right Sports show, I just timed in. It was like
Heat
Suns.
Last night, that's who the Suns ended up beating to clinch their playoff spot, but they've only lost 3 out of their last 15 games, so that's even more of a statement to beat a team. I think the final in that game was like 111-90 or something.
It was almost a shellacking.
Yeah. Yeah, 21 points. That's a shellacking in basketball.
That's a shellacking.
Mm-hmm.
33-22. That for some reason that score of I believe it was South Walton and Rutherford maybe.
32-22.
32-22. What a score! All right, we're gonna go ahead and get a break so we can get Stephen Nesbitt on the line with us, writer for The Athletic. And if you guys got any question pertaining to the old lockout and now baseball season is upon us, write them in or text them in 850-215-6290. We'll be right back.
My weather forecast: overnight, cloud showers and thunderstorms around the listening area. Overnight temperature around 60. Those showers and thunderstorms will continue Friday. Could be a severe thunderstorm. High 70 to 75. Showers and thunderstorms Friday night. Showers and thunderstorms Saturday, clearing Sunday. Cooler weather for the weekend. We'll keep you updated. This weather forecast has been brought to you by Alford Tire and Service Center in Callaway. For 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida, I'm meteorologist Tim Root.
104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
The Dan Patrick Show.
The one thing I absolutely did not see coming after the game was Coach K having to apologize. I'm sorry.
I know.
Please, everyone be quiet. Let me just say, it's unacceptable.
Stop cheering. Okay.
Hey, be quiet.
Hey, be quiet.
It's unacceptable what happened just now.
Dan Patrick. 9 to 11 on ESPN Northwest Florida.
What's up, everybody? David Pollock here with Barbaritos. Did you know that Barbaritos has 35 farm fresh ingredients? That means you have over 3,000 entree combinations that you can put on your plate. Luckily, Barbaritos put together their 9 under 500 calorie menu, which features 9 different entrees that you can feel great about eating. Try the ground turkey salad with double protein, the mini chicken burrito, or my personal favorite Friday meal, fish tacos with guacamole. It's a winning play with Barbaritos.
I'm Matt Glover with Aero Pest Service, and we are your family-owned and operated pest control company in Bay County since 1977. Did you know termites do more damage every year than fires, floods, and storms combined? And all they need is a width of a sheet of paper to get into your home. But I can tell you that it's completely preventable. You can protect the most valuable investment you have by calling us today. Give us a call today at Aero Pest Service, 850-874-1900.
Reliable Copy Products is proud to be the exclusive dealer in Northwest Florida for Kyocera office equipment. Reliable Copy Products has been committed to providing professional, personalized service for the last 35 years. They understand that the right equipment does not always fall within today's budget requirements, so they offer several options for the equipment you need today for the growth you expect tomorrow. Call James Smothers at 784-6601, 784-6601. Reliable Copy Products on Harrison Avenue, just north of Bay High School.
The last time he went to a club, the DJ was taking requests. So he gave him $10 and requested they played Turn Down the Volume. Old School is part of the Afternoon Underdogs. Live from the Rib Crib Radio Room. Turn down for what? ESPN Northwest Florida.
Yes, they are. The boys are back in town. You're listening to the Afternoon Underdogs on 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. March Madness kicks off this weekend on 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida with Selection Sunday right here on 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. We've got Stephen Nesbitt on the line with us. He is a writer for The Athletic, and he's been busy in the last little bit, so we're really appreciative of him making some time for us. Hey, Stephen, how excited were you when you first heard the news?
I was so excited, but I'll be honest. Thanks for having me on. I wasn't sure what to believe because it feels like we've hit a new deadline like every day lately and blown through it and gotten close. And so it felt like there's a lot of momentum. I was getting texts from players earlier today that they thought it was going to happen today. I got text from a player's dad saying it's today the day. I was like, ask your son. Like, how am I so it got to the point where today the final hurdle was, can we do this trade, I suppose, if we want to talk about this in front office terms, of an international draft for the removal of direct draft pick compensation, which is like for a qualifying offer, which will tamp down a player's value if he rejects the qualifying offer, very in the weeds, whatever. They agreed, yes, we'll do this trade and we'll revisit it later this year if we can't come to an agreement on the international draft. And so once that was done, it felt like a matter of time, but the players did need to vote on it. It wasn't a unanimous vote. It was 26-12. They needed 20 votes from the 38 representatives, which is a 8-player executive committee. That's the committee that has Max Scherzer, I believe Garrett Cole's on there, Miggy Rojas from the Marlins is on there, a bunch of the bigger name guys, and then there's a team representative, one for every team. So in the end, those 38 players got votes, and all 8 members of the executive subcommittee voted no, did not want to sign that deal. But as for the rest of the team reps, it was 26-4 in favor. So that was what got the deal done.
So when did that start becoming, or has it been the entire time, one of the bigger issues?
No, it was not. No, it wasn't mentioned barely any time along the way. So in talking to some players who were involved in this, they said that MLB would mention international draft along the way, but then they would say, we're not going to give you anything for it. So, like, we'd like this, but we're not going to give you anything for it, which basically means we don't want it that badly, right? That's kind of what you say is in these deals is like, all right, here's something we'd like. We'd like you to give it to us because I think, it benefits you, it benefits us, or it just benefits the game. But we're not going to, we don't want it so bad that we're going to trade something for it. And just in the last 24 hours, according to these players, and again, this is just one side of the aisle I'm hearing from, they said the ownership started to say, okay, well, we're going to do this, and if you want the draft pick compensation removed, then you're going to have to do it in a trade for the draft. And the players are saying, wait, I thought you said you didn't want that. And the owner is saying, no, we've been asking for it the whole time. The players said, well, we've been saying no the whole time. And so I think what ended up happening was there are certain things that you expect the other side is going to drop somewhere along the way. You both have your pie in the sky proposal starting in November or December, whatever. And by this point, players had dropped all of their pie in the sky asks, which was, getting players to free agency earlier, getting more players to arbitration earlier, things like that. They dropped all those, and they had expected the owners were going to drop the international draft. Well, they didn't. So that's what kind of became the issue last night. But it was dramatic. It was contentious. But finally, they got to a point and they said, all right, fine, we'll do it trade. We'll do it.
Well, one of the things yesterday when we heard that, they had met for 13 hours, but still no, reconciliation of all these major differences and how far apart they were. And I thought to myself, well, if you're that far apart, what do you talk about for 13 hours? They've got to be making some form of progress. And then today,
yeah, absolutely.
And then today, all of a sudden, I've been busy doing other things, and a guy here at the station said, hey, baseball thing is over with. The lockout is over. And I'm like, oh, no, come on. And sure enough, it was. Is there any possibility that this thing won't be ratified by the full union?
No, it seems that this is just a formality. So the union has already given the thumbs up to it. What needs to happen now is the owners need to ratify it. That's about to happen in 39 minutes or so. There is not expected to be any issues with them agreeing to it. So not supposed to be any issues. But to your point, you're right. It did seem like they're talking about how they're a mile apart in all these different areas. But what we did see over the last 10 days, since MLB set its first deadline down in Florida, you may remember they talked till 2:30 in the morning, and MLB was saying, oh, there's momentum. We think it might get done overnight. And the players afterwards said, no, there really we never were close. And if you take that deal that was on the table that night to what this final deal was, it's not even close. The players got so much more by waiting 10 days, and shows you why it's, an arbitrary deadline set by the MLB may not be the smartest thing to follow if you're the players. And so they did right by this. But you did see in the last 9 days, both sides taking steps toward the middle, which is what needed to happen ultimately, and MLB was simply refusing to do that before. You were seeing progress in these important areas to the point where if you're paying close attention, you said, well, if you can just figure out this trade today, you're close enough in all the important areas that you're going to be able to find a deal somewhere in the middle.
Nice. So, Steven, this is Adam here. So mine's kind of a two-parter. When can we expect free agency to start, and what do you foresee coming out of free agency?
So the first answer is as soon as that is ratified, it can start. So 6 p.m. Tonight Eastern is as soon as it can happen. Now, we're not supposed to, the teams and the agents are not supposed to have been talking in the last couple months, the last 99 days since the lockout started. So you'd guess that it would take a little bit of time for them to start talking and get, some deals done. But they could always sign a deal at 6 o'clock and say, oh, no, we had it all lined up before the lockout started. So, we didn't talk, we didn't have any sort of backroom dealings at all. Who cares? I don't care if they talked. But I would expect we're going to see a pretty wild time in free agency. We did see already in the first week of December before the lockout, we saw the Rangers spend $500 million on 2 players. We saw Max Scherzer get a huge deal. We saw guys signing all over the place. It was very fun as a baseball fan, and I think we're going to see that again. You have a lot of names still on the board, and as soon as this happens, I don't think it helps many of them to hold out much longer because we have less than a month before opening day, and you need to get to spring training and actually do some prep. It's only going to be about 3 weeks or 3.5 week spring training. So I would expect it to be a pretty fast and furious free agency, and also watch out for trades. There are teams that have been looking to trade. Oakland, certainly. You could look at Cleveland, potentially trading Jose Ramirez if they want to go that direction. There are a lot of potential trades to be made as well, and we'll see if they've been talking about those in the last 99 days.
Nice. So, what do you think is going to be the first big domino, that first free agent signing or trade?
I'm not sure if it'll be the first one, but I think one that's going to dictate what happens the rest over the next couple weeks is Freddie Freeman with the Braves. So the obvious move is he goes back to Atlanta, right? I think it's what most baseball fans would like to see. You see a guy win a World Series somewhere. He's a homegrown guy. He's an MVP. You want to see him stay there, and they have the money to do it. We just saw Liberty Media's revenue report, and they're making plenty of money, and they won the World Series. They're doing just fine. They got a new ballpark and everything. So you'd like to see that happen. They have the front office that would like to make it happen. The question is ownership okay giving that much AAV, average annual value, to one guy? He's going to command a lot. And the other suitors for him are, I suppose Toronto could be in the mix, but definitely the Los Angeles Dodgers, definitely the New York Yankees. They are going to give him top dollar if he's available, and the Braves are not going to get, I don't think, much of a hometown discount. And so they're going to need to pony up and match whatever offer he's getting, or at least come close to it. And so I think he's got to be one of the earlier dominoes to fall. May not be the very first one, but definitely maybe the first huge one, because where the Yankees go from here, where the Dodgers go from here, where the Braves go from here, depends a lot on, am I throwing $35 million or whatever at Freddie Freeman. So I would say he's kind of the linchpin.
Well, Stephen, this is old school. I wanted to ask you, and maybe you already have answered this in my old age, I just missed it. But we were talking with others, a couple of players that we know, and they were really head set on this years of service issue and things like that. And they really felt like the union guys were going to dig their heels in there. Did the players get what they wanted out of this in that area, or did they have to succumb to it a little bit?
That's a good question, and I would say they probably caved a little bit in that area, because their owners gave a couple non-starters early on. They said, listen, they want to get a quicker route to free agency. It's not happening. That was this reserve clause, something we figured out a long time ago. That's not changing. And they said arbitration, increasing the number of players using arbitration sooner, that's not happening. And those are things that ultimately the union dropped. And so one proposal that was on the board was that, yes, guys can get to free agency after 6 years, except if they have 5 years and they're over 30 years old, right? You hit the 30, you have your 30th birthday, you have 5 years of service, you can be a free agent early. Stuff like that, the sort of creative ways to get around this, nothing changed. And so teams still have the ability to mess around with service time to some degree. They are slightly incentivized now, it's not that important, slightly incentivized to give guys a full year of service instead of waiting till, April 35th. In 45th and May 20th or whatever to bring a guy up. Really, the same stuff's going to happen where a guy basically plays 7 years for the same team before he runs out of before he reaches free agency. So I would say it's an area where the players did not get what they want, but they also didn't probably realistically expect to get what they wanted, because that's a huge chip that the owners hold that they're not even close to being willing to give up.
You're listening to 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. We're on the line right now with Stephen Nesbitt, who tells baseball stories for The Athletic. If you're not subscribed, man, you need to go subscribe to The Athletic, and then follow Stephen Nesbitt on Twitter as well. Stephen, do either of the sides here feel like they came away with the win, or do they both feel like it was a compromise?
I do think both sides are just happy enough and also just frustrated enough to feel like it's probably the happy medium he's looking for. I think the owners have to look at this and say, look, we didn't maybe win in the same way we did the last couple CBAs, where, especially the thing is the competitive balance tax, the revenues soared, especially in the last 10 years, and the CBT hardly rose at all. It was a couple million every year. They knew they weren't going to be able to get away with just keeping payrolls down in that same way. And so, yes, they knew they're going to take a step back there. And so is that a loss? Maybe for some of them. No one is making you spend up to the cap at all. But what they're hoping to do is kind of keep the Steve Cohens of the world, the Mark Walters of the world, the Steinbrenners, if they're spending big, from running away with payroll. So there are areas they think they will take a loss. They're paying a higher minimum salary. They're paying into a pre-arbitration bonus pool. And so they may think there are some losses, but the bottom line, guys, is that the owners, once a new CBA is agreed to for the next 5 years, they can operate however they want. They can spend money in free agency. They don't have to spend money in free agency. They can trade big contracts. They can they can do whatever they want. The rules are set in the CBA, and they can play by those rules. And you'll see that they'll find out different ways to be efficient, to be cost effective in the next 5 years, and players will be upset about it. And then next CBA, they'll try to address it. So the players, they did gain a lot, right? They gained. Another thing I should mention is that the owners gain expanded playoffs. So 2 more teams every year are going to make the playoffs. More teams in the hunt, more money, more TV revenue as well. The players didn't get a quicker time to free agency, but they did get a higher CBT. So teams theoretically, the higher spenders can spend more. They have a higher minimum salary by a lot. It's going to go from 570 up to 700, and then it's going to climb by 20,000 over the next 5 years to the point where 2026 is going to be a 780,000.
Wow.
780,000 minimum salary, which compare that to today, it's 570. That's a huge jump. It's a big leap. And so the players went in with a goal of getting younger players paid earlier, and you combine that with the pre-arbitration player pool. I think that's a big win for players. But on the whole, they took a step forward, but not nearly as big of a step as they would have thought they'd done probably if you would have asked them in November.
Steven, I got to say that's probably been the best explanation that I've heard, and I've done a lot of reading and research on this. Nowhere near close to what you got going on with it, but yeah, very, very clear explanation, and I think I understand it a lot better. And yeah, I saw as soon as it started happening, or I saw the news, got a notification from The Athletic. Hey, get in the live room now with Steven Nesbitt. And it looks like you guys were doing some numbers, man. So we'll let you get back to it. Thanks so much for giving us some of your time this afternoon.
I appreciate you having me on, guys.
No doubt about it. All right, we're going to get to a break. And when we get back, we'll be talking some Auburn basketball and baseball with Brad Law. Stick with us here on 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
If you miss the Coach Hale Show today on ESPN Northwest Florida, you miss this.
That game in New Orleans with Florida State is so intriguing. If FSU in year 2 of Norville is starting to get it together and they were able to pick on Kelly and LSU in year 1, you're going to see some mad Cajuns coming out of the Superdome.
Weekday mornings 7 to 9 on 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
At Slim Chickens, craft means something. Craft means bacon. And oh, so crispy. Craft means a good cayenne kick. And all-natural buttermilk marinated, made fresh, perfectly fried chicken. All served on toasted brioche buns. At Slim Chickens, craft means quality. And for a limited time, try our new Memphis-style barbecue chicken sandwich. Try Slim's Craft sandwiches today. Slim Chickens.
Dairyland is your land. It's car insurance that keeps you on the road so that you can make it to work on time. Its payment plans are flexible for when life gets complicated. It's affordable coverage to help you get back on the road again, even if you've taken a break. Because Dairyland is auto insurance that's customized to fit your life. Dairyland is your land.
Need cash payment options? We can help. Ellis Agency Insurance, helping serve Panhandle drivers since 2009. Call 763-1627 or visit ellisagency.net.
Safety is important, not just for you, but also for your family. Emerald Coast AMSL specializes in women's and children's safety and self-protection. They offer a variety of products from stun guns, striking tools, pepper sprays, including GPS-enabled sprays, personal alarms, safety whistles, and more. Give the gift of self-protection and contact Michelle and Rick today, 850-358-2810, or visit their website at emeraldcoastdamsel.com. Independent Damsel Pro for damsel in defense.
104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida are proud members of the Panama City Beach Chamber. We'd like to welcome the newest members to the Beach Chamber.
Southern Skin and Electrology at the Spa on Harrison. George Smead, Handyman Services Incorporated. Bay Breeze Bait and Tackle. And Arctic Air and Refrigeration LLC.
Congratulations from the area's only sports radio station, 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
When the sun sets on the Emerald Coast, the freaks come out and play. David Hayes, Old School, and Boston Tim, the Afternoon Underdogs. Live and local inside the Rib Crib Radio Room on ESPN Northwest Florida.
And we are back inside of the Rib Crib Radio Room. You're riding with the Afternoon Underdogs on 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. And glad to bring into the studio with us, or on the phone line with us, Brad Law, who is the Director of Broadcast Operations for Auburn University. Brad, what's going on, my friend?
Hey, guys. How's everybody doing down on the coast tonight?
You know, it's really good over this way now. We had a lot of rain yesterday, but we needed it because we had some wildfire action going on. So the Lord blessed us with some raindrops, and we're thankful for that.
Good. That is very good. Yeah, well, we had some rain earlier this week. We had to move a baseball game up in Huntsville from Tuesday to Wednesday because of rain. But that's all right. Listen, it's gorgeous down here right now. Sun's shining, and, the SEC tournament's underway, and Auburn plays tomorrow, and it's a beautiful day.
Well, how is Auburn? They just finished up a really tough regular season. They played a lot of tough games against tough opponents on their home courts here recently. And so how are they doing? How's the team doing physically? Are there any injuries that we need to be aware of or anything?
Well, I think more than anything, the fact that Auburn's last game was Saturday, so by the time they play tomorrow, they'll have been 6 days since their last game. Walker Kessler did a pretty good bump to his left shoulder in the Tennessee game a couple of weekends ago, and played through that. And Auburn won their last 2 games of the regular season after that. But he wasn't quite 100%. But now that we're into postseason play, and there's been an extra couple of days to rest that, I think, he's going to be as close to full speed as could be expected, full strength rather, and I think that'll be great. I think he'll be just fine. I'm expecting big things out of Walker in this postseason.
Well, we've really enjoyed listening to the broadcast on a regular basis of the games, and we just. The play-by-play group, your announcers just do such a great job. Coach Sonny and Andy Bertram, they do such a great job. But one of the things that I wanted to ask about was Sonny is always talking about we're getting out-rebounded. Is that just the old coach in him, or is that really something that we need to be concerned about, or that Coach Pearl needs to be concerned about?
Well, it's a little bit of both. I mean, that is the old coach in him, and when you listen to the broadcast almost every time,
I love it.
He'll say something. We got to get back. Defense without fouling. Things like that. There are some of the same things he'll say, but Auburn's been out rebounding more often than not over the last month of the season. And defense and rebounding are the things that travel. Defense and rebounding win championships. So that is something that, I'll be curious to see. Auburn's going to have a size advantage tomorrow against Texas A&M in the SEC tournament. If they don't out-rebound Texas A&M, that's not a good sign for the rest of the postseason. Whether they win or lose the game, they need to show that they can kind of get back to that team that early in the year was out-rebounding opponents regularly. That was a strength of the Auburn team in the first, I would say, 3 months or so of the season. And a big reason they rose to number 1 in the polls at one point. So I think they've got to get that back. And if they can get that back, they're among the absolute most lethal teams in March if they get back to rebounding the ball consistently, which they've not done for the past month.
Brad, this is Adam. So Jabari Smith obviously has had a great year, leading in scoring at 17 a game. We know what he can do on the boards when he asserts himself. Is there any concern going into not just conference tournament play where you're back to back to back, but also NCAA tournament? Is there any concern over the minutes that he's played this year?
No, because that's something that Bruce Pearl has done regularly with his teams, and especially with this year's team. Jabari didn't get more than, he didn't average, put it that way. He didn't average more than 25, 26 minutes a game until we got into probably the middle of February. This was a team that was going 9 or 10 deep, and significant minutes for 9 or 10. There's some teams who play 9 or 10 guys, but player number 9, player number 10 get 3 minutes a game. And that's not what this team did up until, again, about the last month or so, which is traditionally when you see teams start to shorten their bench. One of the things I liked about the last 2 games of the regular season at Mississippi State and at home against South Carolina, Chris Moore, who's a physical, smaller, small forward. He's a bigger guard, but a smaller, small forward, played power forward in high school. Started to get back into the rotation, started to get some more minutes. Leor Berman, who's a small guard out of Birmingham, a shooting guard, had not played in weeks, got back into the rotation the last week of the regular season. And I think those things are vital. I think Jalen Williams needs to get back to his minutes played per ball game. He's the number one substitution for Jabari. Typically, Jabari and Jalen aren't on the floor at the same time. So, when Jalen is in, he's super productive. And I think Auburn needs that. I like the fact that you got back to more of that early January rotation the last week of the regular season. And I think the more Auburn has that in March, the better they'll be for that gauntlet. Because it is a gauntlet, but it's a gauntlet everybody else has to deal with as well. And I think Auburn's depth wins out in that department.
Brad, what does Walker Kessler need to do to get his outside shot to start falling? We saw last weekend where, they were slumping back off of him, letting him have that shot if he wanted it, and he just wasn't able to knock it down. What is that? Do you think that's part of the shoulder injury, or is it just something that it's just not his strength?
I don't know. He's a right-handed shooter. The long-range shot is with his right hand. It's his left shoulder that took the bump. So I don't know if that's it or if it's just he doesn't do it as much, because he's 7'1". And so he probably shouldn't work on it as much. I think and he hit a couple of them against South Carolina. So I think if teams give him that shot and they just refuse, he's got to take them. He has so many strengths in his game that, it's one of the reasons why I think he's going to be potentially a first-round NBA guy just like Jabari this year, because he has the ability to knock it down along with all the other stuff that he does in his game.
Are you there, Brad?
Yep, I'm here. You got me?
Okay, yes, sir.
How do we match up from a standpoint of size and speed and quickness with the Aggies of Texas A&M?
I think size is definitely an advantage for Auburn. I think that speed and quickness can be an advantage. They're going to play a smaller lineup. Henry Coleman III, who's their leading scorer, he's physical, and he may be pound for pound more physical than who he's going to be matched up with, which is why I think, again, a guy like Chris Moore can give you 6, 7 really quality minutes and just go in and bang for a little while. He's not going to win the one-on-one matchups probably against Coleman, but he can be physical. I think the other guys, I think perimeter defense for Auburn was a strength in the regular season meeting, which Auburn won by 20. And, that's going to be a big factor. I think the size is the biggest matchup advantage for Auburn. Walker Kessler had his second triple-double of the season in the game against Texas A&M down here several weeks ago. He and Jabari, their one-on-one matchup ability, offensively and defensively, simply must force Texas A&M to play a perimeter-oriented game. First game, they sealed off the inside. They weren't able to get anything done on the inside, and it became a perimeter game offensively for A&M. And that's where guys like Zepp Jasper and Katie Johnson, who have been tremendous defensively out on the perimeter, can then step into the spotlight and show off their quickness and show off their physicality and their toughness in the way that they play defense. So I think it's the same formula that you saw in the regular season game is what Auburn needs to show in tomorrow's game.
You know, we were just talking about Andy Bertram and Coach Sonny Smith and how great of a job they do, but that guy who calls the games for Auburn baseball, what a stud. How was the last week of baseball? How's it been going for Auburn?
Well, they went 6-0 last week against Alabama State, UAB, and Rhode Island. Now, those are not the best teams that they'll play on their schedule for sure, but still, they're able to go out and score 49 runs in the Rhode Island series, and in 5 of those 6 games last week, scored 12 or more runs. Last night, they were in Huntsville at the home of the minor league team in Huntsville, the Trash Pandas, which is a fantastic name.
Oh, yeah.
Awesome. They were in their ballpark against Tennessee Tech. And Tennessee Tech is coached by former Rice head coach Matt Braga. And they hit the ball. Man, they knocked the cover off the ball. They were averaging 10.9 runs per game coming in. They jumped out to a 3-0 lead in the 5th inning, and then the bullpen for Auburn shut them down the rest of the way. And Auburn came back and won the game 4-3. To allow that team to score just 3 runs, I think is awfully impressive. And to be able to come back, this is now 3 times this year. The Texas Tech game, the first game of a doubleheader against Yale 2 weekends ago, and now the game last night. Those are types of games that Auburn lost last year. Either a team rallies and comes from behind, or Auburn can't rally and come from behind, or can't hold them off, and they just can't quite make the plays. They've done it now 3 times in the first 3 to 4 weeks of this season. I'm very encouraged by that. I'm encouraged by what the bullpen has done. Blake Burkhalter out of the bullpen has 2 saves and 2 wins now on the year. He had a quote. You guys should look at it. I'll paraphrase it, but it's anybody with any competitive spirit whatsoever listening should go look at this quote. It's really impressive from a young man, not a seasoned 40, 50, 60-year-old, but a young man who says moments like that. He came in and pitched the 8th and the 9th inning. Auburn was down a run at the time. He had to hold that potent offense right in place, and then once Auburn got the 1-run lead in the bottom of the 8th, had to go shut them down in the 9th and keep them from coming back. And again, their bats are really hot. And he said, those moments used to make me nervous. Now I get excited about those. I want to be in that position. Now, again, I'm loosely paraphrasing, but the quote from Blake Burkhalter essentially says, I don't shy away from these moments anymore. I get so excited that I'm shaking because I'm meant to be in that spotlight. I'm meant to be in that situation. So that's a kind of attitude now that can take you a really long way, especially if multiple guys in your clubhouse begin to display that kind of attitude.
Thanks so much, Brad, for the update. Really enjoyed it. Going to keep on rooting for those Auburn Tigers in baseball, and excited to watch them tomorrow against Texas A&M.
And
absolutely, yeah.
Just in case you didn't get your notification, baseball is back.
Yes, saw that, and that's good news for everyone. My son's fired up about it, especially. He's the biggest fan, so
yeah,
that's good news. It's good news for all baseball fans.
Absolutely.
Hey, thanks, Brad. You have a great day and a great weekend as well.
You guys do the same. War Eagle, all the Auburn fans on the coast.
Absolutely. That is Brad Law. He's the Director of Broadcast Operations for Auburn University, and he also calls the baseball games as well for him over there. All right, we're going to take a short time out. When we get back, it's going to be time to defend your stance.
My weather forecast: overnight, cloud showers and thunderstorms around the listening area. Overnight temperature around 60. Those showers and thunderstorms will continue Friday. Could be a severe thunderstorm. High 70 to 75. Showers and thunderstorms Friday night. Showers and thunderstorms Saturday, clearing Sunday. Cooler weather for the weekend. We'll keep you updated. This weather forecast has been brought to you by Mid-South Lumber, best little lumber yard in Panama City and Youngstown. For 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida, I'm meteorologist Tim Root.
ESPN Northwest Florida. You
can't miss a moment with Greeny.
The Packers have had 30 consecutive years of first ballot Hall of Fame quarterback play. That rivalry means everything. Bears-Packers is a big deal to the Bears and the Packers and their fans. So if you're a Chicago fan, are you dejected that he stayed in the division, or are you excited for the chance to finally beat him?
Weekday afternoons from 2 till 4. 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Are you ready for the best pizza in Bay County? It's Paparazzi Gourmet Deli, with over 100 years of recipes passed down through 4 generations. Paparazzi Gourmet specializes in New York and authentic Italian-American specialties from the deli, prepared foods, and of course, pizza. They even cater for all occasions. Click paparazzigourmetdeli.com to check out their daily specials. Come taste the difference at Paparazzi Gourmet Deli, Thomas Drive next to Goodwill on Panama City Beach. Call 850-588-8244 for fast pickup and DoorDash.
In 22, the thing to do is reboot the whole family at That Boot Store. With name brand Western wear for the smallest to the largest Wrangler is available at That Boot Store. Need durable name brand Carhartt work clothes at a price you can afford? Stop by That Boot Store. Next to Billboard Kia on 15th Street. Open Tuesday through Thursday 9 to 5, Friday and Saturday 9 to 5:30. Remember Joe's motto, always keep Jesus in your new year.
Bestway Portable Buildings has been in the Panama City area since 1989. They've been here longer than anyone else. The reasons? High quality, reasonable prices, and tremendous service. Stop by and see owner Jason Mulder and let him and his staff help you pick out the perfect building for your home or business. Just down from Harts Marine on North Highway 231. Online at bestwayportablebuildings.com. Member of the BBB. Bestway Portable Buildings. The best in portable, period.
Damsel in Defense presents Defend Your Stance. Got an opinion? Time to defend it. It's the Afternoon Underdogs on 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
And we're back inside of the Rip Crib Radio Room. You're riding with the Afternoon Underdogs on 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. This is Defend Your Stance, and it is brought to you by Emerald Coast Damsel, Independent Damsel Pro for Damsel in Defense. March 19th and the 20th, they'll be at the fairgrounds of Panama City, the Bay County Fairgrounds. And Old School, hit them with that tagline.
I pity the fool who doesn't use our tool.
So I had a question, and it really didn't pop into my mind. You know, the trade with Carson Wentz and the Washington Commanders yesterday, or the Colts and the Commanders. And it didn't really pop into my mind until I saw the graphic of it showing, you know, the first and the third compared to what the Colts got back for Carson Wentz, which was a third and a third. And they still had some of those, the contingencies on what exactly picks and how they'll land, the 70% playing time and all of that good stuff. I wanted to know, though, in you guys' opinions, did the Colts themselves hurt the value of Wentz before the trade? Not the future value of Wentz, but the value for that trade, did they hurt it after the season?
I think they did. I certainly think they did. You know, I'm
not telling anybody no more of the Defend Your Stance in my opinions before we come. No, I'm just kidding. Go ahead, Old School.
I think that, you know, whenever you come out and say we're done with him and, you know, that we're disappointed in his performance or whatever, you're apologizing to the owner. You know, there was a lot of things that were said about Carson Wentz's performance in the last game of the season that you kind of had to shake your head about. Well, wait a minute. If you've made your decision, you're going to move off of him. Normally, what you would hear is, "We're committed to him. He's our quarterback of the future." You know, they would, because they don't want to see him. They don't want to see it drop. They want to be able to get as much in return, and we didn't hear that.
Maybe the question is, did the Colts hurt themselves?
That's what I mean. They hurt themselves.
Yeah. No, I'm saying maybe if I reworded the question. What's your thoughts on this, AG?
I don't really think so. I mean, I think they got what he's worth, and I don't think what they had have said or done, post that Week 18 game or even right before the trade.
Saying
happened.
he's not a good leader.
I don't think it really affected him though. But I mean, you know how tight some of these teams are. You're looking at 3 degrees of separation most of the time in these coaching staffs. They all know the same players. They knew what they were working with. They knew what they were getting. You know, Washington's sitting there watching Aaron Rodgers, re-sign with the Packers. You know, Russell Wilson's going to Denver. Okay, well, what else is out there? Jimmy G or Carson Wentz? Okay, so maybe we can give. Maybe we can give.
I guarantee you, if I was that guy, I'd take Jimmy G over Carson Wentz in a heartbeat.
I mean,
right, but then again, are you giving up more for Jimmy G than you are for Carson Wentz? And I think you are. So honestly, it probably played into the hands of Washington a little bit, but I don't think it necessarily hurt the Colts because I think they probably got for him what they were expecting to get.
Right. I think that maybe they could have gotten a second and a third. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, the third round could be a second based on the 70% snap.
Based on
so
the 70%.
Again, I think they're getting what they wanted out.
Yeah, I wondered about that last night, and like I said, didn't really pop into my mind until I see the graphic and I'm sitting there looking at it, and I'm like, man, they had the Athletic put out a 10-piece article, you know what I mean? Like Monday was piece 1, and then by Friday piece 5, and then you got a whole nother 5 days of 5 pieces on why they wanted to move on from him. You know what I mean? And it's like that's a lot of ammunition for these other teams to sit here and look and be like, well, if you don't want him, why should we pay you what you want for him? Because obviously, the longer that he sits there in your stash, you know what I mean? Like before the season starts, we know that you're not utilizing him as your starting quarterback, and you don't want him to be your franchise quarterback, which just keeps him. Which I'm not saying that Carson Wentz should be a franchise quarterback by any means, but they continue ever since Andrew Luck to put themselves in limbo at the position of quarterback of, well, Phillip Rivers, Jacoby Brissett. You know what I mean? It's just like ongoing, and then to kind of, in a sense, bash your quarterback for the rest of the league to see. Even if he's not going to be your quarterback, you still had to come off him. So, but I agree with you and where you're coming from, or your point makes a lot of sense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, if they did hurt it at all, one spot in the draft or one round in the draft, essentially.
Maybe.
Yeah, but that's like putting your house up for sale, right? And then you say, oh, by the way, the water in the bathtub drips all night long, drives me crazy. Oh, and by the way, the light bulb in the kitchen always goes out. I mean, you don't point out the flaws.
You let your realtor do that.
But you just don't do that. You always dress it up. You make it look as pretty as you can because you're trying to get the maximum value. For them to not dress it up, for them to not say he's our quarterback of our future, then you begin to question about what's the how are they possibly going to expect to get more than what they ended up getting for him?
Well, but do you ever expect to get, even though you can make the case for it, because like we were saying either today or yesterday, what he did with Philly in his last year, being injured, you know what I mean? Like the Colts paid a lot for him, first and a third, and then, they're done with him, but they're giving him to the Commanders coming off of a year where he threw for 3,500 yards, 27 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. We've got to get to a break. We're going to come right back.
I got 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida presents the madness of college basketball. Who will be this year's Cinderella? ESPN Northwest Florida is your exclusive radio home for the NCAA College Basketball Tournament. Sponsored locally by
Panama City Toyota, Ellis Agency Insurance, Reliable Hydraulic Solutions, Bill Bird Kia, and 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Hi folks, it's Tracy with Tracy's Fine Jewelry. Did you know that we have a master jeweler right here in the store? That's right, he has over 30 years experience in the art of repairing jewelry. Most repairs are done within 2 business days, so don't send your jewelry off for 6 weeks. Bring it to us at Tracy's Fine Jewelry. We size rings and solder chains. We can reset your diamond into new settings and even custom design. You'll get your jewelry back quickly and looking as good as new. Tracy's Fine Jewelry, Bay County's trusted jeweler for over 45 years.
Dr. Chad Mitchell, orthopedic surgeon, specializing in sports medicine and joint replacement of the knee, shoulder, and hip. He serves our local athletes and our community. Southern Orthopedic Specialist has been the leader in orthopedic care for over 20 years. New patients are welcome. Call 850-769-KNEE to schedule an appointment. More about Dr. Mitchell and Southern Orthopedic Specialist is available on their website, southernorthopedic.com. Southern Orthopedic, getting you back in the game.
1, 2. I'm in love with a man named Rudy. I'm okay with that. He knows exactly what I want. He keeps me coming back. Cooks breakfast, lunch, and dinner for me. Does the dishes too. I'm in love with a man named Rudy. Last name Barbecue. It sure is easy to fall in love with Rudy's tasty oak smoked barbecue.
Next in line.
Your exclusive home for March Madness. Powered by Pepsi. WGSX in Haven, Panama City. 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Golf Plus is your premier golf shop on the Gulf Coast. Not a big box or a chain store, but a local store with golf experts to serve you. An amazing array of demo and fitting products, plus a professional repair shop that can handle anything from a basic re-grip to a full set of re-shafts and everything in between. Golf Plus has locations in Dothan and Panama City Beach to serve you. Come see them today for all your golf needs. Located next to Firefly at the shops at Edgewater. Call 850-249-2726.
When you want a big-time sports show, tune in for the Afternoon Underdogs.
I'm going to send you up against the best.
Weekdays from 4 till 6.
Negative, Ghost Rider.
Broadcasting from the Rib Crib Radio Room.
The need for speed.
On 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
All right, let's go, man. It's the 5 at 5, and we were going to get into the top 5 college basketball coaches and maybe even have time to get into the top 5 college basketball uniforms, but Professor Plum, just hold tight because we're going to do that Monday, bring a little excitement for March Madness and the tournament that will be. So we'll get into the top 5 college basketball coaches Monday and possibly top 5 college basketball uniforms, which Adam was just saying, and it's very true. That's a tough one to gauge because there's so many. Like Boston College yesterday, Randy pointed out, they were wearing a jersey that was the Heights. And if you're not a Boston College fan, like Boston Tim could probably tell you exactly why they're wearing that across their jersey. I had to go look it up, and it's basically has to do with their motto. There's so many different things that kind of tie to it, and also with their motto being at the height of everything, essentially paraphrasing there, kind of like Brad Law was a segment ago. But let's get into our top 5 Major League Baseball free agents, because I have a feeling that any minute here, according to Stephen Nesbitt, which he didn't give us an exact time, but he said I wouldn't be surprised if it was ratified by 6 o'clock Eastern, 6 p.m. Eastern, and it is 6:01 Eastern, so I wouldn't be surprised to see free agents flying off the board. I'm right with Adam. I believe this is about to get really wild because they've lost 99 days.
Yeah, it's the free agent frenzy. Let's go.
It's like Barry Bonds winter meetings on steroids.
Right.
All right. Let's get into our top 5 free agents, Major League Baseball. I'll start at number 5. I'm gonna go Nick. No, I don't want to do it like that. I'm gonna start with my number 1, which I don't really have them in any particular order, but number 1 for me is going to be third baseman / outfielder Chris Bryant. You saw him get traded at the deadline last year to the San Francisco Giants. I want to see Chris Bryant, and we're not doing just the top 5 free agents. We're doing our 5 free agents, whoever they might be, and where we would like to or where we think they will go. So I'm going to go with Chris Bryant. Like I said, was playing with the Giants the second half of the year last year. And I'm going to have Chris Bryant going across the tracks in Chicago, no longer with the Cubs.
To the White Sox?
To the White Sox. Be an outfielder out there because I don't think he'll be playing much third base with Moncada over there. What do you got for a free agent? Old school, or we'll go to Adam.
Go to Adam.
Yeah.
Carlos Correa.
Oh, I got him on there too.
Right. Carlos Correa, big shortstop, expecting big money. I think you're going to see him. If he doesn't stay with Houston, I could see him going to a place like the Dodgers, right? Because they lose Seager, right, to Texas. They've got that hole. Obviously they've got their second baseman in Turner, but they could move him over to short if they need to. But I think they're comfortable leaving Turner there at second. So
there you go. There's a list for you.
So I think you're going to see Correa. He's either going to be with the Astros or he's going to be with the Dodgers.
Oh, Astros or Dodgers for Carlos Correa. Let's go over to old school. I have Carlos Correa on my list as well. Absolutely. I mean, he's a fun one to think about, right? He's good enough of a shortstop to be getting Corey Seager type money, right? Which was 10 years, $325 million with the Texas Rangers. Who you got, old school?
Well, I mean, the one that matters to me is the only one that's important.
Yeah, Freddie Freeman.
Freddie Freeman.
All right.
I think even as what we heard a moment ago, he's probably going to be the first domino to drop, and then after that we'll see. It's kind of like the Aaron Rodgers thing, where everybody's waiting to see what would happen with Freddie. But there's other guys out there that I'm really interested in, and one of them is the guy that won the home run contest last year, Anthony Rizzo. No, I'm kidding.
I was about to say I can't ever remember Rizzo being in it.
No, I like Anthony Rizzo, and he's fun. He's a fun guy, and I just think it would be great to have him go somewhere and really have a fun environment to play in. Because he's a fun guy. So you want him to go somewhere. He can't come to the Braves. I mean, I don't want him to come to the Braves because he's a first baseman, so that means we lose.
No, you got the DH now, brother.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
That is true.
See, I hate that rule. I can't even think about that way.
Is Rizzo a free agent?
Yeah.
Yeah, because I know he went to the Yankees at the end of the year, so that would make sense.
Yeah, he only have the 1 year left on his deal.
The Yankees don't have fun.
Right.
I want him to go somewhere where he can have a good time because he's a fun guy. Maybe I think he loved.
They've had more fun than anybody in the league, though, if you're counting championships.
28.
Yeah, but it's a different way of winning the championship. I'd like to see him go to the Cubs. They seem to have fun at the Cubs.
So he's going back to the Cubs.
Yeah.
Back to the Cubbies. All right. I don't mind it. Carlos Correa, for me, we were just talking about Corey Seager. I could see him landing in Seattle. I don't know if they would want to pony up and put that money up, but it would be interesting to see him still stay in the same division with the Houston Astros. That another one of those kind of fun seeing, or if you're playing MLB The Show and Carlos Correa is on the Mariners, like, okay, that's different. I like that look. So Carlos Correa to the Mariners for me.
Be the best shortstops that they've had since A-Rod, honestly.
Yeah. Man, I watched a video. I think I shared it on my Facebook of when A-Rod he got his bat confiscated. Ken Griffey Jr. was on deck, and he was like, here, use mine. Next pitch. Boom.
Mm-hmm.
Bye-bye. What you got next, Adam Goff?
Trevor Story is interesting.
Yeah, I think we probably all have that one on here as well.
Yeah, Trevor Story is interesting. You get the Nationals out there. They've got some money, sitting there on the table. Whether or not they're willing to spend it on somebody like him. I'd love to see my Redlegs go after him, but the Castellinis have not been very forthcoming with fundage, if you will. But I don't think he stays in Colorado. I look for him to go to some place like Washington. Nothing big major market, but somewhere that has the cap space and has the need.
Good take. Old school? No?
No, I mean I'd like to see Carlos Correa go somewhere too. But I don't know where. I mean, anywhere other than the Astros, I guess and maybe he needs to go to, I don't know, go to the Red Sox. Go up with the other cheater.
Go hang out with Cora.
Yeah.
I got Trevor Story on my list as well. And so I think that the biggest suitor, or the team who wants Carlos Correa the most, is probably going to be the New York Yankees, right? But if they don't land him and Correa does land in Seattle, then why wouldn't the Yankees possibly take a stab at Story? The thing is, it's going to come down to money for a guy like Story because of how deep they are in their shortstop prospects. So, but I think that could be interesting. It would be good for Trevor Story, who's really he's had a good career, but last year was just trying to earn that money, and you don't win over there in Colorado. So that's a guy that I wouldn't mind seeing win one. But then again, I don't want to see the Yankees win no World Series.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You got another one?
Yeah, obviously Freddie Freeman is a big one. I'm not as hyped up about that one as you guys are, obviously, not being a Braves fan.
Anxious about it, really.
Yeah,
more
I'm
than
sure.
anything.
I'm sure. I mean, it reminds me of the time when Barry Larkin was talking about going to the Mets after so many years with the Reds. And, like, I think I told my dad I was probably in college, I think, when it happened. And I said, I would probably cry if he stepped out on the field in another uniform, just because, that was my guy. And so I feel for you guys as well on this Freddie Freeman issue. He seems like the loyal clubhouse guy, the glue guy. I can't see him playing anywhere other than in an Atlanta Braves uniform. I mean, I know the Dodgers and Yankees are potentially there, and I think Steven said something about the
Blue Jays,
which
yeah.
came out of left field for me.
I never heard that one.
Right, came out of left field for me, but I
Because
can't
what would
see
Vlad do at that point? Just strictly DH the whole time? Yeah.
But I think Freeman stays with the Braves.
I like that. Dodgers or Yankees, I would burn his jersey. Anywhere else, not too big of a problem with it. Like, obviously, I want the guy to
a World
stay.
Series.
Yeah, but don't go to those two places. Like, you're not from Los Angeles Dodgers. You know what I'm saying? Like, you were an Angels fan growing up. So if you want to do that, I'm cool with you going there. I'm cool with you going to the Tampa Bay Rays or whatever. And obviously, what does it matter if I burn his jersey? Like, nothing. I don't mean nothing to Freddie Freeman. Freddie Freeman means a lot more to me than what I mean to Freddie Freeman.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But it's just, that would be an atrocity for him to go to, like, dude, we beat the Dodgers to get to the World Series. Why are you going there?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, that would tick me off. A little love for the Cincinnati Reds here. I don't know if you guys are going to end up holding on to Castellanos. But and you may not like this as much, but Michael Conforto had a decent year last year with the Mets. What about filling, if you lose Castellanos, Conforto coming in to fill those shoes?
Yeah, if he can stay healthy as well.
If he can stay healthy, yeah.
Because when he came back with the Mets last year, he was hitting the ball pretty well, and of course the Mets were trying to make that push and picked up Javi Baez and all that at the deadline, but. Yeah, I mean, it's going to be hard to see Castellanos play for somebody else, although we knew going into that contract that was probably going to be the case. But, yeah, Conforto wouldn't be bad. Odubel Herrera for the Phillies wouldn't be a bad pickup as well. I think he bats around 270. Kyle Wright and I were talking about that yesterday.
I've always had, like, obviously he's a Phillies guy. You know what I'm saying? So that changes when I'm watching him. It's like there's a little disdain, but also I like the way that he plays ball.
Yeah, he's gritty.
Yeah, he really is. And with Roman Quinn coming back and being healthy, which we'll have him on the show with us tomorrow. I don't know exactly what time. Still got to reach back out to him, but we will have Roman Quinn on the Afternoon Underdogs tomorrow. But with him coming back, Odubel, yeah, I like that one, man. That's one that's really way off the radar.
Yeah, absolutely. But again, Castellanos is my number one, right? We've got to get that guy re-signed. So.
Yeah. Is there any other ones that's like you got to get him back there for the Reds?
As far as free agents that were on the team last year,
yeah,
no, not really. I mean, there's guys that we have control over that could potentially get traded and things like that. There's rumors going around, but one guy that I think that's a free agent that could really help the Reds, and I think you could get him at a bargain, would be Clayton Kershaw as that lefty veteran in the rotation. I really do. I think the Reds could really, really use his tools in their clubhouse as well. So,
all right. Well, do you have any more free agents, Old School?
No, the only one I have is I'd like to see Clayton Kershaw go home to Dallas, Fort Worth area, and pitch for the Rangers.
The Rangers are making some moves, man.
And we've always.
It's that oil money.
That Jerry Jones money.
Right.
No, that's not Jerry Jones money, but it's money. It's Texas money. It's oil money.
That Texas,
that might be real estate money.
That brand new daughter money.
But I just think it was cool. With Matt Stafford, who's from the Dallas-Fort Worth area, going to the Rams. Clayton Kershaw comes home back to the Dallas-Fort Worth area. The Rangers have not had
Stafford to the Cowboys. Here we go.
No, I mean, the Rangers have not had a big-time free agency signing in the pitching staff that has really worked out. So it would be interesting to see if Kershaw would. And to me, Kershaw, he's on the downward slide. So maybe that would be a little bit of juice to get him to maybe have one or two more really good seasons is by going home and pitching in front of hometown fans.
Yeah, and they, like we said, Corey Seager, I believe they got Marcus Semien as well from the Toronto Blue Jays. So they're trying to make moves. The problem is, will it work out for them?
I mean, they're trying hard. At least they're spending some money. There for a while, they were spending nothing. So it'll be good to see the Rangers try to be competitive again instead of just being the doormat.
AG, you got another one?
No, I mean Chris Bryant, right? He's out there.
Where would you like to see Chris go?
Well, the thing is like he proved last year how his versatility, right? Playing in the outfield, playing third base. You could probably put him at first, and now you got DH in the National League, so it's pretty wide open. You know, I honestly think he probably goes back to the Cubs, and I don't want him to go back to the Cubs. But as long as he doesn't go to the St. Louis Cardinals, I'm good wherever he goes.
There you go. There you go. What about the Giants? Like, do y'all think that they're going to be able to build on the success that they had last year where they won the National League West? Where they – come on, man. I mean, even at the end of the season, we're like, there's no way that they're going to win over the Dodgers, and they still did.
Ask me after free agency's over.
Yeah, true. We got a lot of dominoes left to fall, and we've got another break to take, and when we get back, we'll be talking Pensacola sports with Bill Vallone. I'm talking Ice Flyers, Blue Wahoos, and some college baseball inside of Blue Wahoo Stadium. Stick with us.
My weather forecast overnight, cloud showers and thunderstorms around the listening area. Overnight temperature around 60. Those showers and thunderstorms will continue Friday. Could be a severe thunderstorm. High 70 to 75. Showers and thunderstorms Friday night. Showers and thunderstorms Saturday, clearing Sunday. Cooler weather for the weekend. We'll keep you updated. This weather forecast has been brought to you by Alford Tire and Service Center in Callaway. For 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida, I'm meteorologist Tim Root.
104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
The Dan Patrick Show. Seattle, remember, Russ would say, hey, this is where I want to be. Pete Carroll says he's not going to be traded. One was going. And we found out that it was going to be Russ. And Seattle knew this, that if Denver didn't get Aaron Rodgers, then they could make this trade. That's why it happened so quick.
Dan Patrick. 9 to 11 on ESPN Northwest Florida.
Los Rancheros has been doing it right for 20 years. Los Rancheros brings a top-shelf dining experience to you with the opening of their beautiful new building. Watch all college and pro games on Los Rancheros' 14 large-screen TVs with great drink specials daily from 2 to 5 and during all the games. Los Rancheros, the place for live sports and great food on 23rd Street between Jenks and Harrison.
Do you have a home that you don't want anymore? We can buy it from you within 24 hours. Any home, size, or condition. For over 20 years, we've been buying homes for cash and helping homeowners sell their homes immediately with no listings or strangers walking through your home. Are you moving? Did you lose your job? Going through a divorce? Whatever the reason, if you're in a bind and you know that you need to sell your house fast, call the expert team at I Need to Sell My House Fast. We'll make you a serious cash offer to buy your home in 24 hours and let you walk away from it. No listing, no waiting. Sell any home, any size, any condition, now. Call the expert team at I Need to Sell My House Fast. Make this free call now.
800-431-9667. 800-431-9667. 800-431-9667. That's 800-431-9667.
Now back to the most dangerous afternoon show on terrestrial radio.
Danger's my middle name.
It's illegal in 5 states. The Afternoon Underdogs, inside the Rib Crib Radio Room. 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Let's go, man. Welcome back into the Rib Crib Radio Room. You're riding with the Afternoon Underdogs. we're waiting on a call back from Bill Valona, but if he's not able to get with us, we're just going to keep on rolling with some Major League Baseball. We've got some college basketball on tap for you, though. 10:30 tomorrow morning, the Auburn Tigers coverage will start. Tip-off is at 11 a.m. They're taking on Texas A&M, and I believe that's going to be a third-round game of the SEC because
Quarterfinals, right?
Quarterfinals, yeah, and then because you'll have the semis on Saturday. That'll also be right here on 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. Coverage for that starts at 11:45, and it'll be going till probably about 5 o'clock because it's a doubleheader. And then you'll have the ACC championship game at 7 o'clock. The tip-off for that one starts at 7:30. And then in the SEC championship game, that'll be Sunday. Coverage starts at 11:45. Tip-off at 12. And then Selection Sunday to round it all out. That will start at 5 o'clock. And this is going to be the first time ever that they're combining the women's and the men's Selection Sunday. So that's going to be really exciting.
Nice. It gives the women their just due.
Yeah,
It's an exciting tournament. You know, it's been before where, you know, when UConn was pulling off their UCLA run, right, where it was UCLA and everybody else, but you know, there's a lot more parity in the women's game nowadays, and it's good for them that they're getting that exposure. I'm excited about it.
I love the selection shows because these small schools they get in, and when their names called, they're all jumping up. They're all, you know, this is a big day for college basketball. I love the matchups when you start thinking about, ooh,
yeah,
this is going to be a great game. Ooh, that's going to be a great game.
And when you get your bracket,
start putting your bracket together. So looking forward to the fact that it's going to be broadcast right here on our airwaves.
Mm-hmm.
So that'll be fun to listen to.
Speaking of bracket, Dave, what we got going on with ESPN 104.3?
Oh, yeah, the Bracket Buster, man. You need to head on over to ESPNPC.com, and you'll be searching for a tab there that says, I believe it says Bracket Buster, and it'll take you to the exact place that you need to be. You click on that, and it'll take you to sign up for the group, to get in the group, and get as many people in that thing as possible. We're going to have some great prizes for you guys. And, you know, this is what, our third year doing this. Third year doing this. So it's very exciting. It's a lot of fun. And like the greatest thing about the Bracket Buster things is, one, you get to keep up with a million different games, you know what I mean? And each one counts to you. So you're always, you know what I'm saying? You make your pick, and so you've got a side to take, and you can be down and out in that first round, but come second round, come Sweet 16, all of a sudden you're making your march back up in the rankings.
All right, so I got a couple questions for you guys. Okay, so are you all a one bracket person or multiple bracket person?
Here's the difference in being hit right here.
All right, so old school, go first. Or
one bracket only.
Okay, so that's one bracket. Like, so if you go on ESPN or CBS or whomever else you
one bracket.
Okay, so it's the same bracket no matter where you fill it out.
Absolutely.
Okay, Dave.
Oh, multiple brackets, man.
Okay,
multiple brackets. What's wrong with it, man?
It's just not right.
How's it not right?
Because you're hedging your bets?
Yeah, because then you're not really, you're just.
So I have like a main one, right? Which my main one is going to go where the money goes, right? You know what I'm saying? So like if I'm in a money one, then that'll be like, all right, these are my picks. But then like the thing is when if I was just putting brackets out there, then yeah, I guess like that's more of hedge and bet. But you're in groups, and people are gonna pick different ways. You know what I mean? And there's no way, no one's ever had a perfect bracket, so you're not gonna get that. You know what I'm saying? Like, so for me, yeah, I don't mind, because there's games where you're gonna lean this way and you're gonna lean that way. So why not make a couple different brackets? I think that old way is just foolish.
Yeah, I'm more of a one bracket person. But I might throw
You're
in
a one bracket person?
I am, but I might throw in like a coin flip bracket.
Okay.
You know what
Those
I mean?
are fun.
Where you
Those
take
are
like the
fun.
1 and the 16, and it's 50-50, right? And then whoever it comes up, you know, if they're the higher seed, their heads, or lower seed, their tails, and then go from there. So that's a little bit different for me. All right, second question. Old school, this might not apply to you because I don't know if they had TV when you were in school, but did the teachers ever roll out the cart with the old school TV on it and let you all watch the basketball games?
No.
In the tournament?
Coach Connell, in chemistry class, yes, he did. Yes, but only one teacher ever did that. You know what I mean? Because I was homeschooled, so mom never did that for me. Because we would have to go to another room to watch the TV. She's not going to roll it out. I was homeschooled up until about 9th, 10th grade. And then when I came here, it's Panama Christian, Covenant Christian, Eagles Nest Christian, because my mom was a Christian school teacher. So, but really, no. Well, Eagles Nest was an online school essentially. Like, I mean, we were there physically at the school, but everything was done on computers. And so
You had the laptop
it's
working
been
out.
10 years, you know what I mean? We're past. I didn't do a lot of schoolwork until about the end of the year.
Right.
And then I got it all done at one time.
Because, like, you know, being from Louisville, you know, Kentucky is a huge basketball state,
yeah.
right? So, you know, even in middle school all the way up through high school, you know, the teachers would, because they want to watch too, you know, so they would hurry up, they'd get through the curriculum, they'd fire away, they go, here's your homework for tonight. After the games are over, finish this up, come back tomorrow. And then they'd roll out that cart with that giant, you know, box TV up there, and we'd all sit there and just watch. And then that class would end, and we'd go into the next one and do the same thing over and over again. But typically, after the games were going and it rolled on closer to 2 o'clock, that's when, you know, everybody kind of calmed down, because then principal starts rolling around the school and everything, and then he would, you know, hit mute and turn it around or whatever and be like, oh, and blah, blah, blah. And here's what we're learning. And then he'd leave and we'd turn the TV back around. So it was a lot of fun. And, you know, just growing up, that it's always just been a huge thing. And then you get off the school bus and you come home and you check your brackets and all that stuff. So it was definitely a lot of fun. I just didn't know if they had that kind of thing. So what about you? Did y'all have TV in school?
No, that would be a negative.
Okay.
Yeah, typewriters.
That's what I figured. Typewriters, there you go.
You know, when I was really started still in school, you know, you only got to see the games on Saturday, and then you didn't get to see a lot of the NCAA's until you got to the Sweet 16, and sometimes even to the
Elite Eight.
The Elite Eight before you didn't get to see every single game along the way. Now, and when NBC or when CBS finally started really broadcasting it, it was just a blast because you sat all day, and you know, by that point I was into my business career at that point, which was a day when nobody worked.
Yeah.
It's a holiday.
The first 2 days.
The first 2 days, yeah.
I had a buddy, one of my best friends, Justin. He planned his vasectomy around those first 2 days. So I took him into the doctor's office that Wednesday, and then the tournament started that Thursday. So he had a built-in excuse to lay on the couch and do nothing. And just sit there and watch basketball, which is kind of funny because his wife, she was right there with him watching the whole time too. But it was just kind of funny because he could be like, you know what, I'm out these next 2 days.
I've never gotten completely off for it or whatever, but I've, you know, there's been some times where I come up with an excuse and be like, hey, I got to leave work early for some reason. It just so happens to start at the same time as the first game does. And another great thing is here on the radio, you know, CBS's coverage, like you just mentioned, has just gone crazy over the last few years, right? Really, maybe the last 5-6 years.
Well, with True TV.
Being able to get on every single game. Yeah. But we're going to have our same, like on the radio, 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida, we'll have coverage where it's jumping to like the most happening game at the point, at that point in time. Westwood
so
1
it's like the red
on. Zone,
essentially.
It's red zone, but for March Madness.
Nice.
And we had it last year, and it is freaking sweet. So that's why we won't be having a show next Friday, or possibly not next Thursday as well, because we'll have those games on, and it's
is that
a lot
Westwood
of fun.
1?
Westwood 1 puts
Nice.
the coverage on for that. So what is y'all's favorite round to watch?
First round.
Yeah.
Not the play-in, not the
first four in and stuff like that.
But that round of 64 right there, you got 1s and 16s, and it just goes on until, you know, midnight.
Yes.
And so you just have games from 10 o'clock in the morning until midnight. There's that little lull in between where, you know, you go to refresh and the local news comes on and stuff, and you know, go get your dinner or whatever it is, take your bathroom break, and then go right back to it. So,
yeah, I mean, one of my most vivid memories is first time I really sat down and watched basketball the entire day. It was when I was, you know, a grown man at that point, and but I remember making a bowl of Rotel, and I mean a bowl. I should almost like a barrel of Rotel, and I sat the entire day and just I ate nothing healthy. All I did the entire day was just Rotel.
Right.
And it was awesome. And the plan was, can I make it all the way through and not have to make more Rotel? I mean, did I make enough to get all the way through? Which I did. And it was fantastic. It was just
even if you didn't, you still got the next day, though.
It was just so much fun to just sit there and watch every game. It was just a blast.
I love it, man. Like, it's one of my favorite things just because it's nonstop and, 4 games at a time, essentially.
you
The way
end
that they
up-
schedule it out is just great
You
because
got the
at my old
laptop,
house,
the iPad,
no,
and then
see,
the
at my old house, I had
TVs.
4 TVs, so I'm going to be I don't got internet or nothing. I don't know what I'm going to be doing, possibly at a bar somewhere. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because, like, or actually, I'll just be sitting here at work.
Could be here at
There
work.
you go.
Yeah, just listening to them.
But
I love
that's
that.
part of the fun is you end up being emotionally involved in a team that you had no idea anything about.
Mm-hmm.
And all of a sudden you're into it and you're like, hey, these guys it's fun to watch. And so you begin to cheer for them. And if they win, then the next game they play, you got to cheer
Like
for
when
them.
Florida Gulf Coast.
Like when Florida Gulf Coast.
Oh,
That's
man,
exactly
that was
right.
such
That
a
was
run,
such
dude.
a huge
Epstein,
thing,
or
man.
not Epstein, Andy Enfield, right? Andy Enfield was their coach and then went to USC.
That's correct.
Yeah.
Well, and then remember Loyola
George
Chicago,
Mason.
Sister
Yeah.
Jean,
Yeah.
right?
Man, the
Like,
run
that
they
was
had.
awesome.
And they're back in it again this year.
Mm-hmm.
No Oral Roberts. I like their run that they had last
Oral
year.
Roberts,
too.
they're a good team.
That was
Hey,
fun.
remember when Hunter, Georgia State, his
Mhm.
son was the star player and
he had that roller.
He had the roller because he had torn his Achilles.
Celebrating.
It was just there's all these stories that happen and you just it's so cool to watch and it's one of the most unique sporting events that you get a chance to participate
And you
in.
cannot tell me that committee doesn't sit there and look at storylines. They say they don't.
They have to.
But there's so many that are just automatically, you're like, okay, yeah, here you go. Because, like, I'm really sad that Patino and Iona didn't make it.
Yeah, wow,
because
that's something that's got to be said, though, right?
Yeah.
Iona lost last night. Was it the second round of their tournament? It might have been the first round.
championship.
Oh, what? No, I don't think it was. It might have been the championship. Either way, the team that they lost to was a Ryder or something
Yeah.
like that. They were like 17 and 19, 18 and 19, like
Right.
losing record, and they take down the Iona Gales, who were like 25 and 7.
Yeah.
So do they have no chance of
I don't
making the
think so.
tournament now?
No, I don't think so. I don't think they have the
I mean,
resume.
yeah, because it's hard to get those Q1 wins when you're. And then last night you sent a text into the group, Virginia Tech, with the game-winning shot, right? Didn't you?
Oh,
send
yeah,
that in?
Virginia Tech had that game winner in overtime last night. Yeah, it was. It's just so fun.
Yes, dude. I mean, buzzer
you
beaters.
just I remember George Mason made that big run in late 2000s and did their thing. And it's just you think about these Cinderella stories, and it's great. Everybody loves an underdog or whatever, but like when you get those true underdog stories, it's really really hard to beat. Like UCLA last year,
UMBC when they took down
Virginia.
Yeah, Virginia, number 1 seed. And then for Virginia to bounce back and win it all the next year.
Right.
And then one of the Gorgie Ding didn't his injury happen? He played for Louisville, right?
Gorgie Jang played for Louisville.
Jang. Didn't that injury happen in the tournament where he like fractured his? Or
No, that was Kevin Ware.
Oh, that was Kevin Ware.
Yeah, that was the sophomore guard Kevin Ware against Duke in the Elite Eight.
That
was
that
brutal.
one was terrible.
It was brutal.
That was another fun tournament. What?
It was 2013. It was the year Louisville went on to win it all.
You realize
And who did they play?
Michigan.
Because Michigan had that run
They had
too.
Trey Burke.
Yeah, Trey Burke, man, that was
Trey
a great
Burke,
year.
and then
you realize that
Karis LeVert was on that team.
LeVert was on that team.
Nick Stauskas was on that team.
That's the guy I remember the most.
Gary, big tall white boy. What's his name? He got drafted. He was good. He was their center.
I can't think of the last name. For sure.
And then Glenn Robinson III was on that team as well. So it was a pretty stacked Michigan team that Louisville beat.
What were we gonna say?
This is like 2 years ago today. We were sitting around and we were like,
No tournament.
No
right.
tournament.
We're having fun here, man. Why you got to bring up old stuff, old school?
No, it's just how thankful we are to we're having it again.
But now even better, right? You don't got to worry about a situation like VCU in Oregon, I think it was, where COVID.
last
You know what I'm
moment,
saying?
yeah, you know.
You don't got to worry about that.
Right.
What else do you bring back? Full stadiums.
Now,
what else do you bring back? Which it was really cool last year that it was all centralized in Indiana or in Indianapolis. But now we're back to our 4 regions and everybody getting some love.
Right.
This is, what a time to be alive. Baseball's back. March Madness is upon us. We're actually going to be able to have content this summer, y'all. I'm excited about it. Well, we was going to either way because we've got great local athletics here. We've got Gulf Coast baseball. We've got all of our high school baseball. And we are going to take a break. We're going to be right back. And we'll be talking a little bit more about some college basketball and baseball.
104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida is your radio home for live and local sports coverage. For the most high school and college sports from right here in our local area, it's the Coach James Hale Show, weekday mornings 7 till 9. Then the ride home is alive and kicking with the Afternoon Underdogs, covering the gamut of sports. Plus, the radio home for the defending world champion Atlanta Braves. Your local sports station is ESPN Northwest Florida.
Have you been to Gin Gin Super King Buffet? It's not your average Gin Gin. Well, here's what you're missing. Gin Gin Super King Buffet has competitive pricing, a great selection, extensive buffet options perfect for family dining. Menu options also include top quality seafood, hibachi and sushi bar, or select their mouth-watering crab legs by order. Bring the family out to Gin Gin Super King Buffet, located next to Wonderworks at 9802 Front Beach Road on Panama City Beach.
Hi, I'm Bobby Likas with another Car Clinic Minute. Cindy Crawford, Antonio Zapata, and Claudia Schiffer. Today's models who have beauty and talent. But those guys have nothing on the original model.
The Car Clinic Minute.
It's Bobby Likas Car Clinic, brought to you locally by Hewitt Tire and Auto.
Call 850-769-7323.
Your certified AAA service center and hometown towing.
Visit them online at HewittTire.com.
On Airport Road in Panama City.
That's 850-769-7323. Hewitt Tire and Auto Center and hometown towing.
Looking for the ultimate model with brains, brawn, and beauty? Too late. Henry Ford beat you to the punch. Yes, in 1908, Mr. Ford introduced his spectacular Model T at a whopping $290. Extras purchased separately included tool chests, rubber hood silencers, flower vases, and clamp-on dash lights. And was the Model T versatile? It was modified as a snowmobile, buzzsaw, sheep shearer, corn shredder, feed grinder, butter churner, and water pump. Move over, Cindy. The Model T's a classic. I'm Bobby Likas. Like us, you'll love us.
Doing what other stations can't. The Afternoon Underdogs is live and local inside the Rib Crib Radio Room. 850-215-6290.
When you have completed dialing, listen for the ringing signal.
104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
We are live inside of the Rib Crib Radio Room. It's hour number 2 of the Afternoon Underdogs, and we've got some great college basketball going on. And in the Big 12 championship, TCU's taking down Texas, 65-60. We've had Kansas over West Virginia today, 87-63. What are some of the other big scores? And big game, Alabama's taking on Vanderbilt tonight in the SEC championship. So I guess we should.
Is there any particular reason why you chose to lead with that particular game?
Because it was at the top of the score list that I was looking at. That was the first one that I saw.
Okay.
I know that you're thinking. I know what you're thinking. Texas A&M took down Florida in the second round, 83-80 in overtime. Yes, sir. LSU over Missouri, 76-68 in the second round, and we currently have South Carolina and Mississippi State going at it, 26-22 in the first half. In the ACC today, you had Syracuse today without Buddy Boeheim today. Yesterday, he was he was in the paint with one of the Florida State players, and just like the dude didn't even have the ball and a punch to the gut. And then next thing you know, he's suspended for a game. They took on Duke today, and they lost 88-79. But how about Miami? A day after, giving Jim Larinaga an extension, they take down Boston College, who took down Wake Forest yesterday.
Last second.
Yeah, man. How crazy was that game? We were in, because they went to overtime.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were in here watching it.
Today's game went to overtime.
Which one's that? Miami. Yeah, Miami and Boston College. They get the win 71-69. That's one of those teams you got to watch out for, man.
We've got a caller that wants to talk to Old School about his team.
Let's get it. Who we got here on the air?
Man.
Oh, here we go. How was your flight, bud?
It was good. Good. I've been flying all day. My arms are tired.
All right, what you got for old school?
I didn't have anything for old school. I didn't tell him that.
Oh, I thought you wanted to talk about the Hoosiers.
Oh, the Hoosiers, yeah. I mean, but that's I'm not even sure that win today gets them in the tournament, to be honest with you. If they win tomorrow, for sure. I think they might be in already, but I don't know. It's hard to tell right now.
Man, I really would like to think that a win over Illinois tomorrow would hopefully at least get them.
Yeah, on the bubble. I mean,
on the bubble for
more
sure.
firmly. Yeah.
And that's such a huge win though, because y'all were down. Like whenever I saw it, it was like 20-point deficit. I was like, oh, there goes Indiana. But that's the beauty of college basketball and the runs that they can make.
Oh, no doubt. No doubt.
Are you worried about Iowa with them putting up 112 points today on Northwestern?
I did not see the game. I haven't seen many games. I've been traveling so much. I mean, I just haven't been able to watch many of these conference games. I'm not a big fan of the conference tournament that's in the year. I don't know. To me, they're just kind of you play all year to determine a conference champion. Then you have a conference tournament to determine another conference champion. And then you go into the NCAA. I think it's just too many tournaments. I don't know. But
they start the year with tournaments. It's just par for the course.
I know. I just don't agree with it. So,
would you agree with it if IU wins the Big Ten and gets the automatic bid?
That's really y'all's way in, is because without the conference tournament, do you guys think that Indiana would be in the tournament without the conference tournament?
Probably not. Probably not. But that's okay. I could live with that. I'm just not a big fan of conference tournaments into the year. I think they ought to be getting ready for the NCAA, the ones that make the tournament.
Good stuff.
That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. But
who do you think is going to win the whole thing?
Oh man, I think it's wide open this year. I think somebody could be surprised. Surprised. I mean, I don't know. I really don't know. I think it's going to be a fun tournament to watch. I can't wait till next Thursday and Friday. I already feel a cold coming on.
That is awesome. So, real quick here, Joe Montana, Deion Sanders, who you got?
Oh, you got to be kidding. I can't even believe people even vote for Deion Sanders against Joe Montana. That's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard of. I mean, Deion Sanders is maybe one of the top 5 defensive backs in NFL.
And same for Joe.
2 to 3. Joe Montana's on top 2 or 3 quarterbacks ever played game. I don't care what anybody says. I sent you all the facts to back that up today too.
Yeah, you did, and they had Deion Sanders right there at number 3 of the defensive backs, and I haven't seen the list where Joe Montana would land, but you're right. I mean, he's one of the top 3 quarterbacks, depending on. But I think one of the things, though, Greg, is we weren't able to watch him the same way that we got to watch Tom Brady and Peyton Manning and stuff like that. So there is going to be that recency bias for us. And then you're talking about a guy, Deion Sanders, who's still impacting sports, the whole sports world, HBCUs. And then not only that, we're talking about the only guy who's been in. Right, he's the only guy that's been an all-star for Major League Baseball and the NFL, right?
Bo Jackson.
Oh, that's Bo. That's Bo. Well, still, look at what the man did by playing.
So are you both on him because are you both on him as a GOAT in baseball or football? I think you have to separate that.
Well, I think part of the go to GOATs is the influence they've had over their entire career, which would include the 2 sports.
Yeah, I just don't get it. I mean, that article. If you read that second article I sent, it shows you Joe Montana is the second best quarterback behind Brady ever played game.
Yeah, I mean, look at the numbers: 21st in passing yards, 19th in touchdowns, and he's in the middle of the pack there with 138 interceptions. Great ratio.
How many Super Bowls? How many?
4 of them. Three Super Bowl MVPs. Look at Tom. Peyton.
Tom's the best, although he's a cheater. I just don't agree with voting a cheater the GOAT either. But
that's that is definitely an opinion that you can't no one can take that away from you. You know what I'm saying? Because there is the allegations and there's facts behind it as well. So I'm not mad at you, but that's the beauty of this whole thing, though, Greg, is that
we're trying to find the goat of goats, and right now Dion is up 43-20 in the voting.
I'm saying it's all young people voting on it.
Majority of them. Let's get old school thoughts. Joe Montana or Deion Sanders? Yeah, here we go. Old school.
No, there's no question. It's
Deion Sanders.
It's Joe Montana. Without, I mean, come on. Joe Montana was Tom Brady before there was Tom Brady, and how can you?
And clutches all get out.
And he was Mr. Clutch. He went to the Super Bowl 4 times. He won it 4 times. He was at Notre Dame. He won bowl games at Notre Dame, and he was a guy that he very much like Tom Brady in the fact that he was not highly touted coming out of college. Everybody was like, yeah, he doesn't have the strength, the arm strength. He doesn't have whatever. But that guy was unbelievably clutch. And
he changed the way they played the NFL game during his career.
In the offense, the West Coast offense, Bill Walsh's offense, yes, and he executed it to perfection. And so I don't think, and again, that's what's cool about this tournament is there's no disrespect to the other person. Deion Sanders is an unbelievably talented guy, but when it comes to when you start trying to stack them on top of each other, there's, in my opinion, it's Joe Montana all the way.
Well, here's the thing, Barrett. I love you to death. If you're listening, Barrett, I love you to death. But to say Deion Sanders is possibly the best defensive player to ever play the game, you really need to quit making statements like that.
Lawrence Taylor, Ed Reed.
What's that?
Lawrence Taylor or Ed Reed, I'd put over Deion.
I was about to say I got to go Ronnie Lott just for his Super Bowl story.
Mm-hmm.
There's just so many good defensive players, and Deion Sanders. I mean, let's face it. How many tackles did he ever have? I know he was a great ball defender and kept, knocking down passes, interception, all that. But how many tackles? The guy couldn't tackle a wet noodle.
It's hard to tackle a wet noodle.
It was in his contract, or he didn't have to tackle.
He didn't want to tackle. That was the whole point. He didn't want to tackle.
I mean, you got Woodson, Rod Woodson, man.
Yeah.
He was one of the best cornerbacks ever, man. DBs. Ronnie, those guys.
Even Charles Woodson could be up there.
What's that?
Even Charles Woodson could be up there.
Charles Woodson isn't too far. He's in top 10.
Yeah, top 10, top 15, no doubt. But I'm with you on Ronnie Lott. Like, he's got to be numero uno. But it's always fun to see people's gears grinding.
I was having fun today. I was on a plane. I paid extra for the internet on the plane at 30,000 feet arguing with you guys. Man, that was a blast.
That is great. G-Man, hey, hope to see you soon, my man. We gotta run to a break, though.
All right, I'll see you later.
All right, my man. That is Greg Calvert. I'm David Hayes, along with Adam Goff and Old School. We're going to take a short time out. When we get back, we'll be giving you the spotlight of our high school sports.
My weather forecast: overnight, cloud showers and thunderstorms around the listening area. Overnight temperature around 60. Those showers and thunderstorms will continue Friday. Could be a severe thunderstorm. High 70 to 75. Showers and thunderstorms Friday night. Showers and thunderstorms Saturday, clearing Sunday. Cooler weather for the weekend. We'll keep you updated. This weather forecast has been brought to you by Mid-South Lumber, best little lumber yard in Panama City and Youngstown. For 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida, I'm meteorologist Tim Root.
104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida presents the madness of college basketball. 68 teams, 32 conference champions, but there can only be one. ESPN Northwest Florida is your exclusive radio home for the NCAA College Basketball Tournament.
Bestway Portable Buildings has been in the Panama City area since 1989. They've been here longer than anyone else. The reasons? High quality, reasonable prices, and tremendous service. Stop by and see owner Jason Mulder and let him and his staff help you pick out the perfect building for your home or business. Just down from Harts Marine on North Highway 231. Online at bestwayportablebuildings.com. Member of the BBB. Bestway Portable Buildings. The best in portable, period.
Offered Tire and Service Center on Tyndall Parkway in Callaway is your authorized Goodyear and Michelin dealer.
Looking for ways to save at the pump? Ask about Offer's fuel induction service that can improve gas mileage and engine performance, cleaning any buildup that forms inside your engine parts at Offered Tire and Service Center. Their latest technology to clean up the entire system, not just the gas tank.
Offered Tire and Service Center on Tyndall Parkway in Callaway. Locally owned for the past 35 years and worth the drive from anywhere.
The original J. Michael's Restaurant on Thomas Drive, Panama City Beach, serving Bay County and visitors from the U.S., Canada, and around the world since 1976. A little Southern, a little Creole, and a lot of hospitality. Come enjoy J. Michael's Seafood Platter, red beans and rice, the best gumbo on the beach, and the world-famous spaghetti night on Wednesdays. 3210 Thomas Drive, J. Michael's Restaurant.
Live from the Rib Crib Studio. The mission.
Your mission, should you decide to accept it.
Save the panhandle from boring cookie-cutter radio. Now back to the Afternoon Underdogs.
The state will self-destruct in 5 seconds.
104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
.104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida is teaming up with Jack Patterson to present Wrestling Against Cancer 7. All proceeds are going to be benefiting Mosley High School student Kendall Susie. The doors will open at 5:30. Bell times at 6:30. Tickets are $12. Ages 6 to 10. They're $10. 5 and under get in free. This is going to be Saturday, April 30th at the Bay County Fairgrounds. Wrestling Against Cancer 7, presented by 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida and a ton of other sponsors. We have had a realignment in our districts here for all of our schools. You got District 4S2, District 3S2, District 2S1, District 2S2, and District 2S3. We don't have enough time to really dive into it the way that I want to, so we're going to, and you also have the rural regions, which will be Region 1R1 and Region 1R2. And I think that this is going to help these schools, I think, with traveling and stuff. I got a lot more research to do on it. But I think this is going to be a good thing for our area. We still got a big trade to get into. But first, saw this on Facebook by Jake McGowan, who's been on the show before. And, we gotta represent our first responders. He does an amazing job for us here with the Bay County Sheriff's Office. But anyways, he says he just gave an intense pep talk to Hudson, who's his son, before soccer practice. He had zero idea what he was talking about, though. Or Hud had zero idea what Jake was talking about. But he seemed fired up. He's no idea if you can do the things that Jake told him to do. The update comes in. He made a block at the goalie and yells, "Who wants to smoke?" So there you go, Jake. That is the kind of soccer I want to go watch. Hey, if you've ever watched youngins play soccer, that is like one of the coolest things. It's like follow the ball.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
They kick it down the field, and then like 75 kids are running after it because they're coming off the bench, too.
I love it, man. That is some great stuff. But, yeah, big trade today. Do you have the details of that? All right, yeah, let's get into it.
So the Chicago Bears are finalizing a deal with the Los Angeles Chargers for Khalil Mack. So the Chargers will be getting Khalil Mack from the Chicago Bears, and it looks like the Chargers are expected to send a 2022 second-round pick this year and a 2023 sixth-round pick to the Bears for 31-year-old Khalil Mack.
You hear that, Russell Wilson? Do you hear that, Russell Wilson? This is what you got to deal with buddy.
This is exactly, I think, the reason that the Chargers went out and got Khalil Mack, to pair him up with Joey Bosa and say, you know what, we do have, 3 other really great quarterbacks in our division now. We're playing them 6 games of our third of our schedule.
And you can't forget about Derek Carr because he eliminated you from the playoffs.
Right. So, you've got a third of your schedule is this division. It's going to make or break your season. We need to see if we can do our own damage.
I know we haven't seen this product on the field now, but where does this have their defense lined up in the AFC West as far as 1, 2, 3, or 4? Who has the best defense now in the AFC West? Would have you said that it was Denver ahead of this, or would have you stuck with the Chargers? What's your opinion on that one, AG?
Denver's defense was rated 3rd last year.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, getting Patrick Surtain the Jr. or the 3rd, I
yeah.
can't remember which one it is. Either way, I'm old, and Patrick Surtain's son
And you
is
watched
not
his
playing
dad,
in the
yeah.
league. Right. So, but I mean, they have the 3rd best defense in the league. And, you know, granted, they did lose Von Miller toward the end of the season when they got traded to the Rams, but they're talking about bringing him back possibly. They lost Shelby Harris in that trade to Seattle, but Denver's defense is formidable in that division. Kansas City's weak in the secondary, so you know,
and no Tyrann Mathieu either.
Right, so you got to think that they're going to have to start making some moves. You know, Las Vegas's defense, they're on the front line. You know, projections are that they're going to go after Jordan Davis, put him next to Max Crosby. That's a heck of a D line. So we'll see.
4.78 40-yard line or 40-yard dash, and he's 340 pounds.
340 pounds with a 38-inch vertical jump.
It's a freak.
That's
Max Crosby's a freak too.
Yeah, I mean the pro, which I guess there's not a lot of weight behind that, but the Pro Bowl MVP and Max Crosby, and he had himself a heck of a year last year.
Mm-hmm.
And you know,
second team All Pro, I think, for Max Crosby last year.
I believe it was second team All Pro. Where do you have him lining up, Old School?
I think that I still give the nod to Denver. My question is, whenever the trade was made to take Mac to Chicago, how much did Chicago give up to get Khalil Mack?
It was heavy.
It was heavy.
It was heavy.
And yeah, and now he's going to, you know, I mean, it just, again, these trades, they get so heavy, and then the guy, you know, yes, he's had some amazing years, but they're getting long in the tooth. And man, when you invest that heavy, you need to have some time, you know, to recoup this investment. And I just don't know that you're going to get that. I like Mac. I really do. I think he's going to be a real help to the Chargers. I just don't know that there's enough time left in his career. Does he have enough left in the tank to really recoup when you give up that much draft capital? Yeah. I know that, you know, with what the Rams did, the draft capital is not as valuable as what it used to be. But it's still, I guess it's because I'm old school, but it's still the most important capital you have is your draft capital.
CBS put a top 5 list of trades yesterday, and I wanted to, man, I had so much going on. Like, I put about 45 minutes into the show today as far as preparation goes, which normally it's a little bit more than that. Anyways, though, they put out that top 5 list, and they had Russell Wilson in that trade, which we haven't seen anything happen from it. They had it as the 3rd most impactful trade. Number 1 was Herschel Walker. Number 2, but here's my thing. So number 1, Herschel Walker. Number 2 was Rams getting Matt Stafford. Number 3 was Russell Wilson. Number 5 was Marshawn Lynch, and I'm blanking on number 4 for some reason right now. But with that Herschel Walker deal, the team who got Herschel Walker, the Vikings, they bombed. Yeah. Herschel had like maybe a good year with him or so, but outside of that, it wasn't nothing. The Rams won a Super Bowl after their trade, after getting Matthew Stafford, and then you had the Seahawks after Marshawn Lynch. They win a Super Bowl, but Russell Wilson, we haven't seen anything. How can you propel that all the way up to number 3? And then your list is kind of, it just doesn't make sense to me because
Dickerson was 4, right?
Yeah, that's
Eric
exactly
Dickerson.
what it was. And then you look at that, and that did not do anything for the Colts. Dickerson had 2 good years with the Colts. After that, it was just kind of a downhill slide from there.
The Bears gave up for Khalil Mack 2 first-rounders, a second-rounder, and a 6th-rounder.
Wow.
So it was like Josh Jacobs and others.
Hey, we got to go. We're rolling out. We'll be back tomorrow at 4 Caveman, Rick, Adam Goff, and myself, David Hayes. We'll see y'all, Coach James Hale, live at 7 a.m.
ESPN Northwest Florida, the Paul Feinbaum Show.
I've always felt, and I've said this many times, I've always thought Georgia Stadium was one of the most idyllic I've ever been to. That was one of the coolest things in the world in the fall. I mean, obviously Tiger Stadium on a Saturday night is a standalone place, but I'm not sure the beauty of it compares to Athens. I'll take Sanford Stadium any day.
Weeknights starting at 6. 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
At Slim Chickens, craft means something. Craft means bacon. And oh, so crispy. Kraft means a good cayenne kick and all-natural buttermilk marinated, made fresh, perfectly fried chicken, all served on toasted brioche buns. At Slim Chickens, Kraft means quality. And for a limited time, try our new Memphis-style barbecue chicken sandwich. Try Slim's Kraft sandwiches today. Slim Chickens.
Signworks, a business serving businesses since 1985. Everything from signs and banners, vehicles and boats, magnetic and real estate signs, contractor signs, and much more. Signworks can do large format, full color printing too. Signworks, a real professional in the business world. Call Signworks at 785-8899. Signworks, 850-785-8899.
As a realtor, it's important who you choose as your title company. May we suggest South Oak Title? Their offices are modern, comfortable, and state-of-the-art. South Oak Title can close transactions in any location in Florida, Alabama, and Tennessee.